It's funny. We can see your shirt.
I can't get down that far nowadays, and well, I'm turning 26 in about 10 days.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Well, guys, it's another episode of Who Are These Guys on the YouTube channel.
Ooh!
And this is episode 35, I believe.
Yeah.
So Z and I have done 35 episodes here, and we wanted to come on here. And as you can see by the thumbnail, as you can see by the title of the video, we are talking about the NFL playoffs. We are giving our NFL playoff predictions, and we'll see how long we go for. It's going to be interesting to hear Z's side. We'll see what my side is. You guys can let us know in the comment section your predictions.
Yep.
But it is Wednesdays we record this. You guys will probably see this on Thursday or Friday before the playoffs. Probably Thursday. You guys are watching this.
Oh, hold on real quick before we go any further. I mean, we have to address just the biggest elephant in the room right now.
Yeah.
And that's Ann's new bedroom.
Yeah.
You can see, guys, he put some LEDs, he put up some curtains, and it's appropriate because he lives a dark life.
Well, we bought a house, so this is the new room. Yeah.
He has a green screen, ladies and gentlemen. He has a green screen now.
It is, guys, this is one of the new studios that I will be partaking the shows in. So we will have another studio as well that you will see me in. So I got kind of two podcast studios, so we'll kind of go back and forth based on what we're feeling.
Yeah. Well, again, you must be in a dark mood tonight because there's really not much lighting in that room.
No, there's not. No, excuse me. Sorry about that. No, there's not. But you know what, Z? This podcast can be a little dark sometimes, and we're keeping with the theme.
Yeah, you're right, Ed. Yeah, you're right. Well, yeah, today is January 10th, episode 35. And how you doing today?
We're doing all right. Got some stuff done that we needed to get done today, and made some cheeseburgers for dinner. So,
yep. And just so you guys know, if you guys are going to a casino now, this guy's actually handling your money. So just be very careful what you do with your money nowadays, because this guy you're looking at is a perfect example why you lose money to fraud. That's all I gotta say.
Wait, you're right, G. Why you lose money to fraud? Meanwhile, Z's money that he earns and works for, you have Vladimir in Ukraine. That is in his hand. Z's hard-earned money from his hotel is in Vladimir's hands.
Yeah, you're right. That's in Vladimir's. Well, and all I want is world peace and all humans be nice to each other. So if that means I have to spread the wealth,
well, Z, you're not really going to be getting that. I'm sorry.
No, we're not dead. So I know that probably just pisses people off what I just said, but
yeah.
At the same time, man, I don't really care. I don't really care.
Well, again, Z, just the money that you're going to be filing and the money that has been coming out of your paychecks. That, like I said, you have freaking whoever it is over there on the other side of the world. They are using it for their own benefit.
Yep. And over under 50 countries that would exist without the United States.
Yeah. That's a good question.
I don't know how this getting political. This is supposed to be sports related.
I'll go with the under.
All right, we'll go with the under. We're just gonna leave it there. Well, so as you guys know, today, it's Wednesday the 10th. The NFL playoffs kick off in a few days. There's not much more to talk about. I mean, it's a very important time of the year. It's the most important time of the year for the NFL season, and for any fans that are a fan of the team in the playoffs. And now we're going to go game by game prediction, the Super Bowl winner prediction. At least I'm going to. And had a just unbelievable Sunday. The guy was, I mean, those undies couldn't be any tighter, because the Steelers end up sneaking in the playoffs. They beat the Ravens on Saturday, and then the Jags lost. I'm not even gonna talk about the Jags, but they're the biggest joke in the entire NFL.
We'll be talking about it, believe me.
Yep. So congrats to the Steelers. Congrats to N. Congrats to Daniel. And congrats to Mark. I don't know why he's a Steelers fan all the way over in Australia. But, congrats to you guys, and you guys get to see another game this upcoming Sunday.
Yep, it was something where I think everybody thought the Steelers were pretty dead in the water. And this is honestly this is just what they do. It's either they're a legit team and uh, they have a good year and can make a playoff run, or they're really mediocre or mid as it comes, and they find themselves alive in the last week.
Right.
There's no in between.
There's
Tell
not.
me last time there was anything in between.
No,
There's never anything in between.
no.
So,
It's funny because like they're literally like almost at the same exact record as like the Chiefs.
right. So, do you think that the Steelers would have won a little bit more than 10 games if they had average quarterback play?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say yes. I mean, if we're talking about average quarterback play, I mean, where are we gonna state that in the NFL today? I mean, I guess the way Mason Rudolph played the final 3 games,
maybe,
if you wanna put it that way.
maybe.
Um, Obviously, there's some things you gotta factor into that with, the Ravens not playing really any of their starters. Uh, and, really, I feel like anytime, like, some guy that is, like, cheered on by the fans when he comes in because they hate their starting quarterback, they hate their backup quarterback. So literally the only solution they have is the 3rd guy. And, like, what does he have to lose? Like, seriously, like, he's
Nothing.
just gonna go out there and just do whatever, and it's
Yeah.
worked for them, and all the fans are behind him, and he's playing with confidence. Is he the future? We're not gonna That's something for a different episode, but you gotta give credit to him, man. You gotta give credit to, uh, the red-nosed reindeer for for
He
coming.
saved Christmas, and he saved the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kenny's a joke.
Well, Z, he is,
Yeah,
and I don't understand how there's anybody out there that thinks that the Kenny era should continue. I don't
yep,
know how there's anybody out there that thinks that Kenny should, or that are gonna sit there and say he's gonna be the starting quarterback next year.
yep,
Could that happen? Sure, because 'cause he'll be on the roster, but if you think that the Steelers are just gonna give him that moniker and that job, you're wrong.
yeah. I mean, if he's not gonna start the Steelers, he shouldn't start anybody. I don't there's not one team in the league that I can look at and be like, "Wow, he fits perfectly." Well, he
Right.
fits perfectly with, uh with Atlanta. He fits perfectly with Washington. I mean, God. I mean, they might not win a
The
game.
Z, let's be honest, he's a capable backup in the NFL.
Here's a good question for you. Would you rather take him or Desmond Ritter?
God, that's brutal.
Bottom of the barrel there.
That is bottom barrel. I'll probably take Kenny. Just at least he's won games in the fourth quarter.
I agree. I mean, Ritter's, God, Ritter is just horrendous.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, man.
Ritter or Mike White.
Yeah, obviously Mike White. That's not even a question. So, uh, yeah. So, anyways, that's you guys probably already know all the teams that are in the playoffs, um, and we're gonna probably pull it up here pretty shortly. We're gonna pull up the bracket.
Yeah.
Uh, we can go game by game, and or we can literally just go. I can do my AFC, then you do your AFC, NFC, NFC, Super Bowl. How do you want to do it?
Um, let's do it where I'll pull up the bracket and we'll do where we'll go one game at a time.
Right,
And
right.
then Z and I will you guys will see our predictions each time.
I
Um, yeah, good.
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna throw this out there before we begin. My predictions are gonna be pretty spicy.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
excited to hear him. I'm excited to hear him.
Yep.
And we'll and like Z and I aren't just gonna like just quickly go, okay, they're gonna win, they're gonna win, they're gonna win. No, like we'll give some detail, we'll give a little bit depth why we chose them,
Yep.
give a little bit outlook on how their season was, maybe a little bit further future, but we'll give a little bit reasoning as to why we think A team or B team will win.
Yeah.
There's also been a lot of news in the NFL since this is a NFL strict episode. There's been a lot of news that have come out with a lot of coaching changes. That's something Z and I will also talk about a little bit here in the show. And also Nick Saban retired.
Yep.
So that was a pretty big thing in college football world. The guy's 71. He's about 5 years away from a diaper.
I'm surprised Belichick or Pete Carroll's not there.
Obviously, they're both 71.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. It's really
Yeah.
crazy. So let me pull up the bracket. Z and I will do our playoff predictions first, since that is the focal point of the show.
Yep.
And then we'll talk a little bit about some of these coaching
Yeah.
fires.
Now, I will say while I was at work today, and I was really, really sitting down and going over these games. And
Yeah.
not only the games of round 1, just literally game by game prediction. Are we gonna get every single one right? You guys know the answer to that. Absolutely not.
Right.
I mean, ends like Skip Bayless, he never gets anything right. And
Yeah. You're right.
then or but I'm not even gonna get this conversation. Or should I call Ed freaking you know, I don't know. Just Back to the Future because Ed apparently lives in the future and he gets every single prediction right.
Yeah, it was funny because Z and I shared our predictions or like our records of NFL games last night.
Yeah.
Like we kind of jotted them down each week, and he missed like the first few weeks. I missed about probably the first few weeks or so, or I don't know, however you want to total it. But I just had a better record than him, where I was a couple games away from having 70 losses. And I don't know what he was crying about, because if I ended up having the whole season like some other people, I probably would have been in the 90 loss mark. So I don't know what he was freaking crying
It
about.
just makes no sense.
Yeah.
His girlfriend got 164 games right. She got 64 wrong. There is some major suspect about that.
Z,
And again,
a lot of times we had the same predictions, and she isn't in the know as nearly as much as we are, but she sees a lot of things that go on, and some of it was luck, of course, just like any other type of prediction is, but then also some of it was pretty educated.
well, again, 2 things before we move on. Her nickname now is called Daylight, and
Daylight.
and and in case you guys don't know what that means, the biggest suspect game in all of video games nowadays,
Yep.
Dead by
Yep.
Daylight. Biggest
Yep.
suspect game. Biggest suspect,
It definitely is. Definitely
you
is.
know. So that's Jason's name from now on is Daylight.
Yeah, Daylight.
Uh and next year for Ed and Jason, I'm gonna be requiring pictures every single week of their predictions.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yep.
Um,
Well, we'll leave it at that, everybody, because Zeke just cannot
don't care
accept
what
the
you're
fact.
saying, don't care what you say.
I'm gonna
So,
try to let me try to zoom in a little bit on this image here.
right.
Um,
So here is the playoff bracket, AFC, NFC. Um, well, and I don't think and could probably zoom this in. Maybe he can. I'm not sure.
I don't know if I can or not.
God. Well, hopefully you guys can see that. And if you can, I don't blame you. I mean, I feel like I need glasses to even
Does that
seeing
work
it.
on there? Hold on.
Well, and
Let's try that.
and you could have the opportunity to go to up to Buffalo to see the Pittsburgh Steelers play.
Yeah, you're right. I have the opportunity. I don't know if I can make this, if I can zoom this in or
And
not.
that's fine. We're just wasting time. Just leave it like that.
All right.
I'm pretty sure people can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me know you're done, and let me know you're
Yep.
done.
We're good. We're good. We're good.
All right. So I mean, we're gonna go game by game. Um, like I said, I spent a lot of time today at work going over this. I went over a couple different scenarios, but I think the scenario that I came out to, um, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident. So, um, I think we should go conference by conference predictions. Like, I think you should do your
That's
full
fine.
AFC and NFC, then I'll do mine.
All right. So
Uh,
not game by game.
not game by game, no.
All right.
Um, I mean, so it's up to you. I mean, do you want me to go first on the AFC, then you'll go first on the NFC or whatever?
We'll just do we'll just do one conference at a time.
All right. So I guess I'll start. I'll start on the other side. I'll start on the other side, considering our teams are playing the AFC. I'll start on the NFC side. Okay.
Okay.
And here we go. We're just gonna get right into it.
Yep.
So, turn out those LED lights. I don't know why your forehead looks so big today. Uh,
Z, it's just
but
the way I'm sitting right now.
it's just the way you're sitting. Well, I'm glad you got your green screen. It's a good addition.
Yep.
It does add some more light, not only to this podcast, but to your personality. So,
Yeah, my personality, right?
here we go. Now let's go ahead and start on the top. Right, we're gonna start with Philly at Tampa. Right, Philly, one of the biggest jokes in the entire NFL. One of the biggest jokes.
And before Z goes on, I actually compared the Eagles to the 2020 Steelers.
Mm,
The reason
okay.
why I did is because both teams were kind of just getting by, winning a lot of their games, but just really had a lot of problems, and it really started to show in the final stretch of the year.
Yep.
And the Eagles are just kind of collapsing the exact same way that that team did.
Yeah, and the Eagles started playing real competition,
Yeah.
and They started dropping games. Don't tell me it's injuries. The Ravens dealt with injuries, and they've been being the best teams in the league. So,
Every team in the league has this year.
every team. So Philly's the biggest joke. They have, outside of Arthur Smith, the biggest joke of a head coach in the league. Okay, right. But at the same time, we're not going to talk all smack about them. They are very experienced. They are very talented. I don't know what's going on with AJ Brown after his knee injury. But when you have that much experience on a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, it's going to have a major, major benefit over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are no slouches either. They have plenty of guys who were on that Super Bowl team that they won with Tom Brady a few years back.
Mhm.
So as much as I really want to sit here and say that I would love to see a Baker Mayfield, um, Cinderella run in the postseason, I just don't think I can say it. I don't think I can say it. I know
Right.
I know Philly's lost 5 of their last 6 or whatever it is. Um, but I can't. I don't. It's not really even going to be that much of a road game for them. It's going to be probably the majority of Eagles fans at the game, anyways.
Yeah.
Um, so I would love to go with Tampa and respect to them for winning the division once again for the 3rd straight year, but I have to go with Philly. I have to. I'm going to take Philly. I'm not going to give score predictions, but I'm going to take Philly to beat Tampa Bay. So I'm going to take Philly to beat Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Going down to the next two. This is obviously the game of the weekend. There's no question about it.
Right.
Alex Yasso, if he listens to this podcast again, he probably thinks this was written down even before the season
Oh,
started.
you know the NFL had to do Stafford's return.
So obviously this is great for the NFL. This is great for Detroit, for them to be hosting a playoff game. And it's just unbelievable enough and that their franchise quarterback for so many years is the one that's coming to town.
Right.
And he's the opponent,
Right.
right?
It's a
You
good
got to
story.
you got to give credit to the Rams for catching fire the last half of the season, and you
Yeah.
got to give credit to the Lions for just making a massive jump this year. And
The lines were consistent for the most part throughout there. They had a couple bad L's, but they were pretty
yeah,
consistent.
right, right. So you got to give them credit for them to be Super Bowl contenders because they are. They are definitely Super Bowl contenders. I'm not going to consider them a dark horse in this playoffs. Yes,
Yeah.
there's teams over them. And spoiler alert, I don't have them winning the Super Bowl. That's a major spoiler alert. But they have obviously made a huge jump, and they will make another jump by winning their first playoff game. And I don't even know how long. They are going to beat the LA Rams in a very close game, and they are going to move on to the second round. Okay,
See, if the Lions lose, is it a failure?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
no. So I'm gonna take the Lions being the LA Rams end. Now,
Do you think that this is the best game out of every game in the first round?
I literally just said that. I guess
I know,
you're right.
but I didn't know if you just meant the NFC or not.
No, yes, it's the best game of the first round,
Right. Okay.
easily. Moving on down below to the Packers and Cowboys. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. Okay.
I don't
Eh,
know,
eh,
Z. Dallas can't get out of first round sometimes.
it is not gonna be upset city. This is not, oh well, what about 2017 when Green Bay went in there and beat Dallas? Yeah, well, they had Aaron Rodgers. Right. So I'm not gonna spend much time on this. I think this will be the one game of the weekend where it's just a slaughter fest.
Yeah.
Uh, they are severely outmatched.
Yeah.
Jordan Love has had a good season, and he will continue. And he's impressed a lot of people, and he'll get better next season, probably with even better offensive pieces. But I'm sorry, this game won't be close. This game won't be close. Dallas is easily going to win this game to move on to the second round. And congratulations to Dallas for winning the first round.
All right. There you
Now
have it.
we're moving on to the second round. So we have Detroit versus Dallas, and we have San Francisco versus Philly. Okay. I'll start on San Fran versus Philly. I stood last year as well with Deebo Samuel that if Brock Purdy played, I don't know if they would have beat Philly, but it would have been a lot closer. And we saw what happened this time around. Just the vengeance San Francisco had going against Philly this year with Brock Purdy. They just slaughtered their head off.
All right.
Right. And although they're not going to do that again, they're not going to slaughter Philadelphia. Okay, because Philadelphia will be ready to play, but they are going to beat them. And this is where Philadelphia's road, very disappointing road. Yes, I will say that is a failure. Comes to an end for Philly. It's going to be a close game, but San Francisco is going to take care of business as the 1 seed at home, beating Philly again. And what could have been that they could have beat them last year.
Right.
San Francisco will beat Philadelphia in the second round to move on to the NFC Championship, still as the number 1 seed. Going down to Detroit versus Dallas, a rematch of a very controversial Thursday night or Saturday night game, whenever it was, like 2 weeks ago. Very controversial. And whoever that ref was, I can't remember. Well, Brad Allen.
Yeah.
If he's reffing any of these playoff games,
I don't think
just
he is. I don't think he's
yeah,
allowed.
at that point, and it's in God's hands. You know. So, so as long as we don't have him or Alex Kemp or Clete Blakeman or pretty much any referee at that point end,
Yeah.
this Detroit versus Dallas game is going to be just a bloodbath of a rematch. Okay, you had Detroit furious of how they lost. You have Dallas, who is as always feel like they have had a curse of, especially with the Des Bryant situation way back. Just it feels like Dallas is always cursed in the playoffs, right? Especially with
Right.
Mike McCarthy. Okay,
Right.
this is going to be a bloodbath, right? I don't know if it'll be a high scoring game, but it hurts me to say it, and it hurts me to say it. Okay, because I've been impressed and it's a good story, but Detroit's season will come to an end. It'll come to an end the second round to Dallas. Dallas is just the better team, and they're going to prove it this time around without needing the refs' help. And they're going to prove it this time around to move on to the NFC and play the San Francisco 49ers as a rematch in the second round of last year.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay. And here we go. Before I let N do his NFC prediction, Dallas versus San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of the game. All I'm going to say about it is before the season started, I picked one team to be the NFC champions. And who was that team, Ed?
It was the Dallas Cowboys.
It was the Dallas Cowboys. And congratulations to Brock. Congratulations to Kyle. Congratulations to Nick Bosa, Chase Young, right? But unfortunately, you're not going to make the Super Bowl. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be NFC champions, and let's give it a round of applause. Yep. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be NFC champions, and they are going to make the Super Bowl for the first time, and I don't even know how long. At least since I've not been alive
since the '90s.
Yeah, so we weren't live yet then, and quite honestly, I think you and I still question us being alive.
Honestly, there's a reason why there's a countdown.
Yeah. So that's it for me. I am picking the Dallas Cowboys to beat the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game, and they will be NFC champions. Congrats to Dallas.
Okay. There you have it, guys. Z is picking the Dallas Cowboys to represent the NFC. Really, this year's NFL, and Z and I have talked about it a little bit. This year's NFL has just been very underwhelming. There's been, in my opinion, a lot of bad play. I don't even think that is an opinion, but there's been a lot of bad play. I think 95% of the teams in the league are either just middle of the pack to not very good. And honestly, yes, the NFL playoffs are always a great time, but I can't happen but feel a little underwhelmed. Z. I can't happen but feel a little underwhelmed. Most of these teams in the playoffs, to me, just are just mediocre. They're just mediocre. It's not even comparable to even 3 years ago, 4 years ago, with the way the league was, and that's just how I personally feel. I'll always be excited to watch football. Always be excited for the NFL playoffs. But if we're being honest, it's an underwhelming season. It was a disappointing season from the NFL all around. You had injuries, you had poor play, poor quarterback play. You had as much of a scoring league the NFL wants to be, it kind of took a little bit of a hit. There was a lack of competitive nature in the league this year, in my opinion, and a lot of it just wasn't very good football across the board. So, but with that being said, that's how I feel as I get ready to predict my NFC. But as we're going to start with the Eagles and Buccaneers, the Eagles have been on a downslide. The Eagles have been struggling and just have not kind of really figured out ultimately what that is. You have Tampa Bay, who also hasn't, they've been a little bit not as explosive as they were at different points of the season toward the end. Tampa won a mediocre division, but I thought Baker Mayfield had a quality season, especially because this could have been his last chance as a starter. So, with both teams are at, I don't think this is going to be too high scoring of a game. Z picked the Eagles. I'm picking Tampa Bay. I'm going to pick Tampa Bay to knock off the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles just have a lot of problems, and Tampa Bay, yes, they're home, but they also do have explosiveness on their roster, though it's been a little bit lacking the last couple weeks. There's still an explosive element on their offense with Rashad White, with Mike Evans. They still have some playmakers on their defense, and with where the Eagles are defensively, it's not very good. They are one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And I think with just how poor they're playing, to me, Z, that there's a lack of confidence there as well. Maybe they're not buying what Sirianni's trying to sell. I don't know what it is. I'm not an Eagles fan, so I'm not completely in all the know on everything.
Well,
But
I've always disliked their attitude when I see it on camera, when I
yeah,
see it
especially when
on.
they're losing, Z.
Yeah,
Especially when they're losing. Like
yeah,
it's a dead attitude. It's an
yep.
attitude that is very reminiscent of the Cardinals when they were struggling at the end of the year and lost in the wild card.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very reminiscent. So I'm gonna pick Tampa Bay to win. I think there's a little bit more upbeat in that locker room.
Like somebody
Um,
smile, like
yeah,
somebody smile, like you're
yeah,
literally playing like a kid's game for your profession.
yeah. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah,
So I think Tampa Bay is going to come to play. Like I said, I know they've been sliding a little bit, but I'm gonna pick Tampa Bay over Philly, and Philly is going to enter an off season where
see ya,
they
Nick.
are.
See ya.
Yep, yeah, that's possible. That's possible. His brother coaches at W&J right down the street from me. He's the football coach of a D3 college. So why don't you
Yep,
go join him?
yep, yep.
So we're gonna go Tampa Bay with the upset.
Yep.
The second
Wow.
game, Lions and Rams. This could be the best game. It's a good story with Stafford returning to Detroit. He never won a playoff game for Detroit, and the Rams were in a spot this year where a lot of people thought they weren't going to be very good. Then they started hot a little bit, then they slacked off a good bit, and then they finished off hot. But I'm with Z. I think Detroit wins their first playoff game. They're home. The atmosphere should be great.
Yep,
Dan Campbell is a front runner for coach of the year. They know exactly um, who they are. They're a team that has stayed the course all season for the most part. They have gotten productive play defensively, and I think that they are maybe aside from the Ravens, the most consistent team in the playoffs right now. And I think that's good enough to win them a playoff game. And they spoil Stafford's return,
yep,
and they move on to the second round. And
mhm,
it's going to be a great story for Detroit.
yep.
Next game, this is going to be the worst game in the playoffs, in my opinion. Green Bay and Dallas. I
Glad
give
we
credit
agree on
Jordan
that.
Love, man. Yep, I give credit Jordan Love. He was very questionable this offseason with how he was going to do, but I think he was one of the more impressive quarterbacks this year, and there hasn't really been a lot. I definitely think he's Green Bay's guy going forward. But going to Dallas for a playoff game against Dallas's defense and kind of a back and forth way of play for Green Bay, it's not going to be enough. And honestly, I think Dallas is just going to slaughter him.
Yep,
So
yep,
back to the drawing board for the Packers.
yep.
But you should feel good about Jordan Love.
Yeah, not a failure of a season. Not a
No,
failure.
no, definitely not. It definitely was not a failure. They exceeded expectations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if they can go into the offseason, get them a little bit help, retool their line a little bit, they definitely can find
God,
themselves in
get rid
competition.
of Bakhtiari. Get rid of him.
Z, the guy never plays.
Oh my
Think
god.
about it. Think about it, Z. That guy's just collecting a paycheck every week.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Maybe sitting at home eating a cheeseburger. So, all right. So going to the second round, we have Tampa Bay at San Francisco, and this is exactly where Tampa Bay's run is going to end. And
Yep.
honestly, I think it's going to be a blowout. So,
Two blowouts already.
2 blowouts already, guys. We're keeping with the theme of the NFL season. Um, so Tampa gets blown out in San Francisco. San Francisco moves on to the NFC Championship. Baker goes in the offseason, probably going to get an extension. Todd Bowles will probably last another year. What happens
Yep.
with Mike Evans, we're not really quite sure. Antoine Winfield, we're not quite sure. Levante David, we're not quite sure. Who knows what's going to go on with the Buccaneers? But hey, they won a playoff game with Baker. That goes a long way. Baker would be deserving of a extension if that's the way it goes.
Yep.
NFC or the other round, the other game divisional round, Detroit at Dallas. This could be an exciting game again. Who knows? I would like to see Detroit honestly get to the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna lie. They're the team in the NFC I'm rooting for. It would be great. It'd be fantastic. But I'm with Z. I think it ends.
Yep.
I think it ends. I think it ends. I think it ends with the one playoff win, a divisional round appearance, which Detroit has not had in decades. And Dan Campbell and Detroit and Lions fans have nothing to hold their head down about. They can go into the offseason and be ready to defend their NFC North division title and try to take that next step forward in next year's playoffs. In the NFC conference game, NFC championship, Dallas at San Francisco, I feel like the NFL probably would not want it any other way, Z.
Yep.
You have Dallas, San Francisco, two treasured franchises. They haven't well, San Francisco, they've been to a Super Bowl. They went 2019, but San Francisco has kind of had their problems as well over the last X amount of years before Shanahan got there. Dallas has not gotten to a Super Bowl since Emmitt Smith. So it's been quite a long time. It's been quite a long time. But this is probably the NFL's ideal, hopeful matchup. Ratings, fan bases, franchises. This would hopefully you would hope that this would be a great game, all things considered. But I'm going to pick the San Francisco 49ers to move on. I'm going to pick the Niners to get back to the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy gets his first Super Bowl appearance, and Dallas goes home empty-handed with Mike McCarthy possibly on the hot seat because Jerry Jones cannot help himself. So, honestly, if Dallas loses in the NFC Championship, I would think it would be a successful year for them because they're usually finding themselves choking in the playoffs. And I think with this Dallas team is realistically a team that you can see going to the Super Bowl. But San Francisco isn't a slouch in any type of way. And Dak has had his problems trying to get over the hump. And so has Mike McCarthy. And meanwhile, San Francisco, I trust Kyle Shanahan. I think more so than I trust Mike McCarthy to get this win. So I'm going to go San Francisco represents the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Congratulations. That is NNI's NFC prediction.
Yep.
Yep.
That is it. That is it.
That is it right there.
Yep.
Now this AFC one it might take some years off my life. Right. And there's no other way to say it. I'm just gonna hop right into it.
Here we go.
Okay. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and just start with the top. Right.
Yep.
Another game I'm very, very excited for.
Yeah.
Cleveland versus Houston.
Yeah.
Which is the very first game of the playoffs, Saturday around 4:00, I think.
I think that's a great game to start with.
Great game. Great game.
Yeah.
You have January Joe. He's back. He's back. Versus the rookie and CJ Stroud. And the Texans, they celebrated making the playoffs by beating the Colts. And then next thing you know, they celebrate again on Sunday by the Jags losing and then win the division.
Right.
So honestly, what a moment for them. What a moment for D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah. 100%.
For them having a home playoff game.
Yeah. His first year as a coach, which they have not been able to figure out their coaching. And you have just a really super young roster.
Yep. However, However, the team that's coming in is more talented than they are.
They are.
They are. They are. You have an experienced defensive coordinator with talent up and down that defense. I'm not sure if CJ Stroud's got against a defense like this in his whole rookie season. Yeah, he went against the Ravens week 1, but that's week 1. He's got to go against a ferocious pass rush, a phenomenal secondary, right? It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be
Yeah.
tough. I'm riding the Joe Flacco bandwagon,
Sloppy.
and Cleveland will win this game.
All right.
Yeah, Cleveland
All
will win
right.
this game. Congratulations to the Browns. It's not something we would have ever saw 10 years ago, 5 years ago. The fact not them winning a playoff game, them winning a playoff game with Joe Flacco.
Right.
So, congratulations to
Right.
the Browns. Congratulations to Sloppy
Yep.
for winning another playoff game in his phenomenal potential Hall of Fame career if he wins the Super Bowl this year.
I feel like that's the only thing that
Right.
will get him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know. All right, so moving on next.
All right.
Chiefs Dolphins, yawn.
Yeah.
Yawn. Okay. I know people are gonna be like, "What? Like Mike McDaniel, Andy Reid?" Yeah. I don't care. Don't care. Coach, hyped up coaches are overrated. Uh, I mean, like we know the Dolphins don't play well in cold weather, and it's going to be like literally 0 degrees Fahrenheit when that game kicks off. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think this game will be a slaughter. But I'm just not picking them to go in, especially the way they just lost on Sunday to the Bills, and I'm not having them go into to Kansas City and beat Mahomes.
Right.
So the Chiefs will win this game probably by about 10 points. And so congratulations to the Chiefs for once again moving on. But again, another I'm just saying this a failure. I am considering this a failure of a season for Miami. No progress. First round again. I can't remember if they made the playoffs last year. Did they? I can't remember.
Um. I don't know why
Regardless.
I'm blanking out on it.
Yeah. Regardless. I think anytime they've made the playoffs in the time that I've been watching, they've always get taken out first round.
Yeah.
So a failure of a season for them. It started off so promising, and obviously the injuries that they've suffered have been a major part of it. Losing their best 2 pass rushers, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert. I mean, it's hard to go unnoticed. So
Yeah.
it's hurt them a lot. They've not been able to recover from it. They're just too young of a team.
Yep.
They'll be better next season. They will, but this time around, it's just nothing impressive. So sorry, the Dolphins, you're taking out in the first round.
Yeah.
Uh,
They have some injuries too that
yep,
hurt them.
yep. Coming down the bottom left, Steelers versus Bills. Another game that's going to be probably in the negatives, uh, in reference to Fahrenheit, right?
I
But
think it's supposed
again,
to snow.
another game that's not going to blow out the ratings box. Not many people want to watch Mason Rudolph in the playoffs.
Right.
No matter if he started the last 8 games, they won all of it. No one wants to watch
Right.
Mason Rudolph. Okay.
Right. Right.
Right. The only thing people remember about him is him getting tight and grabbing his helmet and or whatever he did whenever he tried to rip off Myles Garrett's helmet, and
When
everybody
Myles
remembers
Garrett
that.
tried to commit murder on a field.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. So Mason was tight that game. He was.
Well, see, it was rough all around. I mean, I turned it
Oh
off. I
man,
turned it off.
I remember that game like it was yesterday.
Oh my god!
Uh,
Thank God that was 5 years ago.
yeah. So I feel almost like the Steelers are kind of like the same like kind of state as the Dolphins. It's just like it's like at what cost are you coming to the first round of the playoffs? That makes you feel good because it is an accomplishment. You can never go unnoticed with, making getting to the playoffs in the NFL.
Right.
Uh, but
Right.
again, at what cost?
Right.
You're going to go into Buffalo. You're going to be severely outmatched, especially with no TJ Watt.
Right.
Uh, and Buffalo's been playing on their mind the last month and a half of the season.
Yep.
So Buffalo's going to win this game. I don't think they'll blow out Pittsburgh. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think.
Mhm.
But Buffalo's going to win this game. There's no way they don't.
Mhm.
Uh, that's all I'm really going to say about it. Buffalo's going to win this game. They're going to move on. And what we're looking at in the second round, we're looking at Chiefs Bills again. I feel like they play every postseason.
God, I mean, just come on, Roger.
Yeah. and then we got part 2 of quarterback returning and Joe Flacco going to Baltimore. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
which would be exciting. Which would be
Yeah, it
exciting.
would. Yes, it would.
So I'll start with the Ravens and Browns. Okay. Not gonna get too much into it. Um, it's gonna be talked about all week for the Ravens. I know they're not playing, so it probably won't be talked about too much. But next week, when we're approaching the Ravens, whoever they're playing, it's gonna be talked about regardless of what happened in 2019.
Right.
It's gonna be talked about by everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, which is stupid because obviously this isn't the same team. Anybody that's still on the team, like Lamar Jackson, is not the same player. I don't like comparing teams, comparing seasons, but it's fair. It's a fair argument. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's not. You it's literally the same thing. You had the same record pretty much. You rested your starters in the last week of the season, and now you have a bye, and now you're coming into the second round. It's the same exact thing, and the same
Right.
exact thing.
Right.
What's gonna be different this time around? We don't know. We have to wait and see. Okay.
Yeah.
Cleveland coming in is probably one of the most difficult matchups the Ravens can get in the second round. One of the most difficult matchups. Okay. If people forget, yeah, the Ravens beat them 28-3 the first time they played them this season, but that was with DTR starting. The Ravens then end up playing Cleveland at home later in the season, and they blew the game. They blew the game to Cleveland. And by the way, Deshaun Watson got hurt in that game because after the game ended, he was out for the season.
All right.
So going against Cleveland is, I don't want to say worst case scenario, but anytime you go against a division opponent, it's going to be really, really hard,
All right.
right? And again, the Browns of that defense, they know how to play. They know how to play Lamar Jackson. It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a tight game,
Right.
but the Ravens will come out on top. The Ravens will come out on top. Lamar will get past the second round. He will move on to the AFC Championship game. Going down the Chiefs Bills. Another rematch. Every time these guys play, it seems to be a great game. It's always a shootout. There's been multiple times, other than this past regular season, that the Bills, you can make a case that should have beaten the Chiefs in the divisional round and AFC Championship. You can make cases for both, right? And this time around, part three, I think maybe of them going against each other in the playoffs with the Bills at home. This was different about it. This time around, we're seeing Mahomes go to Buffalo. We're really going to see what Mahomes' greatness is.
Right.
Okay.
He's crying inside. He can't have a home game.
Yeah, he's gonna look at Ronald Torbert and Ed Oliver hit me on the head, right? But believe it or not, man, they're gonna get knocked out. They are going to get knocked out. I'm sorry. I know you signed Mahomes to a 15-year contract. You ain't gonna win the Super Bowl every single year. I'm
No.
sorry.
No. You
Okay.
can't be on top every year.
Already a Hall of Fame player. You already have a Hall of Fame coach. You have a Hall
Right.
of Fame tight end that who knows, maybe will retire in the offseason.
Who knows?
But this time around, Buffalo will get your number, right?
Right.
There were times where Ray Lewis and the Ravens got Tom Brady. There was the same time with Peyton Manning. Although all these great quarterbacks, it's not going to be that way every single year.
Right.
Buffalo will beat Patrick Mahomes in a very, very close game in Kansas City, and all the fans could have a major deep breath because they finally got over that hump of beating Mahomes in the playoffs.
Let's
Right.
go, Buffalo.
And here we go. Coming to the AFC Championship game, which is, again, a version of a bloodbath in a way of there's going to be no defense in this game. There's going to be zero defense. You're simply going to have Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen put every single weight on their shoulders.
Right.
Every single weight on their
Right.
shoulders.
Right.
Okay. And then I've been thinking about this all day long. I've been thinking about it all day.
I
Okay.
think this is honestly, Z, I'll be honest. I think this is the best possible matchup you can get for the AFC title game.
Okay. I've been thinking about this all day. And as much as I want to say Lamar Jackson's going to make his first Super Bowl, it's hard. It's hard. And I'm saying this as a diehard Ravens fan.
Right.
Buffalo has been close, even closer than the Ravens have been multiple times last few seasons. And Buffalo, although I'm not the biggest fan of Josh Allen and I'm not the biggest fan of McDermott, they're another prime example of when you get hot at the end of the season, Sometimes that's all that matters.
Right.
Doesn't matter what your record is. Doesn't matter what your stats are.
Right.
Buffalo will go into Baltimore and win the AFC Championship.
You heard it here. A Ravens fan in Z
I hope I'm
not
wrong. I
picking the
hope I'm wrong.
Ravens to go to the Super Bowl.
If you guys are listening to this, I hope I'm wrong. I do. But
Well, we
as
might clip this and send it to Freezing Cold Takes.
I hope I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna take the logical pick and say that Buffalo wins the AFC.
Okay. Who was your AFC pick before the season?
It was Cincinnati.
That's right. That's right. How'd that turn out?
Not exactly good.
Well, with Z's AFC prediction, he has a Super Bowl set with the Cowboys and the Bills. Where's the Super Bowl this year anyway?
Vegas.
In Vegas, of course it is. All right. So with that said, with what Z said, if I'm going to do mine, let's see how different it is. Let's see. The first matchup, Browns and Texans. Great way to kick off the playoff weekend on Saturday. I think this is going to be this might be the best game of the first round for the AFC. And go Texans, by the way. Go Texans. Got to give credit to the Browns with what they've done this year. They've been through 4 or 5 different quarterbacks. They have faced as many injuries as anybody else,
Yep.
maybe more.
Definitely more.
Yeah. And you got to give credit to their coaching. Got to give credit to Sloppy. So the Browns are going to go in, and they're going to get a playoff win against the Texans.
Wow.
They're going to win. They're going to get a playoff win against the Texans. The defense is going to show up at maybe a critical time. Flacco is going to show his experience.
And why he's elite.
Yeah, why he's elite. He's going to show he doesn't belong in the back of McDonald's.
Yep. I mean, what do you think that guy from you know what video is is thinking today, seeing Flacco back in the playoffs?
Sam Bradford, Z. Sam Bradford.
Yep. I mean, and we can go back to that video, and there's probably 20 guys I wouldn't take over him.
I mean, Z, we should honestly make an episode of that. An episode, and we literally put it on the screen and play it.
Yep. I think we get copyrighted.
I don't think we would, because it's just a video that we're playing.
Bradford. Freeman.
Hey, if we get copyrighted, it's worth it.
Josh Freeman.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not the point. All right, keep going.
Yep. So, no. And what what was the other thing? It was well, you don't think the Lions would make that trade or something?
No, it was he said like second year Stafford he would take over Flacco.
Right.
And then all like the guys, his co-hosts were like, I wouldn't take Stafford over Flacco. Not this early in his career.
Right. He's like, you think the Lions would make that trade?
No, he said the Ravens. He's like, you don't think the Ravens would make that trade?
Oh my God, dude.
Oh man.
That's honestly an all-time video. It really is.
It is. It is.
It really is. You wonder what that guy's thinking right now, seeing Flacco do this.
And he's probably working a bag boy at Costco.
I mean, he very well could be. Yeah. All right. Well, Browns get their get a playoff win against the Texans here, their first one since 2020. So congrats to the Browns. Go Texans. Dolphins and Chiefs. I'm with Z. I don't really think this is going to be a very interesting game. I think it's going to be pretty bland on both sides. This is easily the worst Chiefs team under Patrick Mahomes. This is not a Super Bowl team with the Chiefs. I'm sorry, Chiefs fans. It's just not. It's just not. So Miami's been coming off a little bit of a rough stretch, and Kansas City's been struggling themselves. I think it's a little bit of. I think this is honestly an even matchup. With that being said, I'm with Z, and I think the Chiefs will win, but I think they'll win in a close game. I think they'll win in a close game. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I don't think the Dolphins will get slaughtered, but I think it's gonna be a close game, and I think that we will hear a little bit of talk about Tua and his future. I think that he will stick with. I think they'll stick with him next year. I think we'll see some talk about that. I like Mike McDaniel a lot. I think that he's a great coach, but Miami's been banged up as well, and they are not playing good football at the time you need to be. Steelers and Bills. We'll go Steelers and Bills. I talked briefly about the Steelers. The thing with the Steelers is, like I said, it never fails with them, and they have the biggest offseason in a very long time coming up. There's talk about what's going to happen with Mike Tomlin. There's going to be a lot of quarterback talk. I honestly think we're going to hear every rumor in the book, Z, when it comes to the Steelers quarterback next year. I think we are. I think we're going to hear the Russell Wilson rumors. I think we're going to hear the Justin Fields rumors. I think we're going to hear the rumors of them taking a quarterback in the first round. I think we could even hear a little bit of Kirkland rumors, to be honest with you.
I'm telling you.
So that is all possible. I think we will hear every rumor in the book. I really do. And I'm very excited for the offseason. It's too long, but I'm excited for it. The Steelers, I give them a ton of credit. They were dead in the water, riding with Mitch Trubisky for 3 straight weeks. And they lost to 2 win teams at home, back to back, and then they lost to the Colts on the road. And everybody thought they were done. And they put in Mason Rudolph. He gives them some life. He gives them a little bit of something they haven't had at the quarterback position all year. It's not saying that he has been this lights out quarterback, but he gave them at least decent play. He gave them decent play, something they have not had, average play, we'll say, and it gave them a little bit of a spark. And they've been running the ball great. Najee Harris has been phenomenal. Jaylen Warren has had a great season, but there's no TJ Watt. And that's going this. We know how the Steelers are without TJ Watt. They don't win. They don't win games without TJ Watt. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think with the Steelers, with the way the weather is, it does give them a little bit of favor in the sense of being able to run the football. Maybe Josh Allen can give them a couple turnovers. Minkah Fitzpatrick will be back. But it's just not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. And Mason Rudolph's first playoff game against a Buffalo team that has been to the playoffs the last 4 years in a row, and against a Buffalo team that has been one of the more hotter teams in the league to end the year, it's not going to be enough. And the Steelers are going to lose again in the first round of the playoffs, and fans aren't going to be happy. And it's going to be, oh, here we go again. Steelers lose another game in the first round. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016 and all this stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But what do you expect? Honestly, what do you expect? What are Steelers fans expecting? If you're a Steelers fan expecting them to win this game, I don't know what to tell you. So they're going to lose. It's not going to be a blowout. But they do have a couple factors that could maybe help them. But they're going to take the L. And it's going to be on to the offseason, and it's going to be on to hearing every name possible at their quarterback spot next year. Next round, Browns at Ravens. This will be another very telling story going into this game. It actually might be an exciting one given that fact, and that it could be a good game. Ravens are going to have their home game. Can Lamar win a playoff game? That is kind of the big question. He's only won 1 in his career, and that's one of the big things that Lamar gets knocked for is his lack of playoff success. Never forget, in 2018, the Ravens made the playoffs. Lamar was starting.
Yeah.
And he was getting booed out of the building. Never forget that. Never forget that.
Yep.
As a rookie, getting booed out of the building.
I was not one of them. Not one of them.
Yep. As a rookie, he was getting booed, and people wanted Sloppy back in. So, all you got to know about that fan base. All you got to know.
Yeah, you're right.
But Ravens are going to be home. They are playing the best football out of anybody in the league. They have been the epitome of, or really, they have kind of been the in my opinion, the cream of the crop, because you look at everybody they've come across, every playoff team almost they've come across, they've single-handedly kicked their ass. And if the Ravens do not win the Super Bowl this year, it is a massive failure. It is a massive, massive failure. It is a fireable failure, in my opinion, Z.
Again, that's why I said I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, it is a fireable failure, in my opinion. Now, if they get to the Super Bowl and lose, it might be a little different. It's still a failure, but it's maybe a little different. But if they do not get to the Super Bowl, it is a fireable failure for John Harbaugh. I'm sorry. You have a depleted AFC. You have an AFC that was supposed to be a juggernaut this year, yet I was trying to tell everybody I possibly could it was not, and what happened, it was not.
Yep.
All 13 teams out of 16 or so in the AFC were supposed to win 10 games. That makes sense.
Yep. I guess every team in the league was supposed to win 10 games.
Apparently. It was not going to happen. It was never going to happen. It will never, ever happen where you have either conference like that. The NFL is too physical for anything like that to happen. But the Ravens are in a very, very winnable AFC. And if they do not take advantage of that and win the Super Bowl, massive failure. But I will pick them to beat Cleveland at home. I will pick them to honestly kick Cleveland's ass and send Sloppy back into maybe retirement. I'll pick them to beat Cleveland. Cleveland will not show up too much for this game. Defense might maybe give Lamar a test or two, but Baltimore will be home. It will be an electric atmosphere, especially if with Joe Flacco being back there. And but I honestly don't think it'll be too much of a game. So Ravens move on to the AFC title game. Then we got the Chiefs and the Bills. Another one. Tired of seeing this matchup, to be honest with you. In Buffalo, Mahomes on the road finally. I agree with Z. I think Buffalo will win this one and will be able to move on to the AFC Championship, something that they have just been falling short of the last 4 years or so. And the Chiefs just aren't a very good team, man. And the Chiefs are going to have to go in the offseason and really evaluate some different positions.
Which, real quick, I mean, obviously says a lot about the success of the Chiefs. If this isn't your best team that you've put out on the field,
right,
the fact that you make it second round is still flat out impressive.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And as long as Mahomes is there, they'll always be in that position.
Yeah.
But they're just not very good. And it's going to show in Buffalo. And Buffalo will, I honestly think, not blow them out, but I don't think the Chiefs will ever hold a lead in that game. So Buffalo move on to the AFC Championship game. And we have the Ravens and the Bills in Baltimore. And like I told Z, this is probably the best AFC matchup we can get, probably. Unless, like, a team in the playoffs just does a lot better. I don't know. But again, there's a huge chance that the Ravens lose this AFC Championship game, given the fact of how well Buffalo's been playing. Josh Allen can make a lot of plays. He can also be an idiot and make a lot of stupid plays. The Ravens have had arguably the best defense in the league this year, which really took me by surprise. I thought they were really just going to be a middle of the pack defense, but they really came together. Got to give credit to their DC, who's already getting head coaching requests, by the way. And so it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Ravens with who they maintain versus who they lose. And that's why they really got to take advantage. So with the way Buffalo's playing, the way the Ravens are playing, I think it should honestly make for a really good matchup. With that being said, which one gets their first Super Bowl first? Josh Allen has not been to an AFC Championship game, right?
No, he has. He just lost to the Chiefs.
Oh, that's right. He's been to one. Against the Chiefs, they lost. That's right. They lost to the Chiefs. And Lamar has not been to one. This is tough. But given really everything that I've explained, I'm going to pick the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going to pick the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl in a very close game for the AFC Championship.
Don't tell Kevin Adams.
Yeah, don't tell Kevin that. I know he's trying to talk himself into Steelers winning.
Don't let us in. Yeah, I mean,
he just need to cost his wife
Yeah, I did.
tweet him.
I don't know why she's on Twitter.
I don't know either. I don't know either. I don't know
Get
either.
off, get off there. Get off there. You're not helping anything.
No, no. Oh, EDC. Oh man, but yeah, I'm gonna pick the Ravens to go. I could
all
see
right.
it going either way, but I just feel like, man, the Ravens have just been too good to not get there. And I know anything can happen in the playoffs. I know the 2019 Ravens, honestly, I think were even a better team than what they are this year. But as he kind of said too, that was 4 or 5 years ago, and they're not the same team. There's different mindsets. There's different coaching. There's different demeanor. There's different play style. And Lamar isn't the same quarterback either. And I think with that being said, I just think they're too good to not get there. Could they lose to Buffalo? Sure.
Yeah.
I think it will honestly be a pretty good AFC Championship game. And maybe with that being said, it could, if we get a Ravens Bills AFC Championship game, it could probably be one of the better AFC Championship games in quite a while. It could be, or it could be a dud, just like every other primetime game this year has. So I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna Ravens win the AFC. Ravens Niners repeat of the Super Bowl from almost 10 years ago.
Yep. Yep. Again, as much as I really want to change my AFC prediction because I don't want to put any bad voodoo on the Ravens. Is it wrong for me to change my prediction, or is it what do you think?
Well, Z, you got to stick with what you got.
Yeah. Well, and I'm my own human being. I'm a grown adult. So so don't care what anybody says. I'm changing my prediction. I'm changing the Ravens. I don't give
Well,
a
there
damn.
you go. There you go. Maybe with what I said, maybe with me picking them, and with what I said, maybe it changed Z's mind.
Yeah. But again, I'm not Mo. I'm not Malik. All right. I question the ability to getting to the Super Bowl, but I know this kind of changed up the video, but I'm sorry guys. I'm changing my prediction back to my bias to
Yep.
Ravens win this, or not Ravens. Ravens win the AFC Championship game, which means I have Ravens versus Cowboys, and N has
That could be. I would honestly probably rather have that than Ravens and Niners, to be honest with you.
yeah. Well, you can't
But
change yours.
I'm not changing mine. But I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I think like realistically, if we can
both
think
change
of
ours.
the best Super Bowl matchups, that one could be in the top 3.
Right. All right. Here we go. We have Ravens versus Niners rematch and Ravens versus Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Z, before we do this, are we getting on?
I'm gonna say no. I think I'm playing Cotton Night.
Well, there you go.
Depends how long I play for. It's not guaranteed at the moment. It's not guaranteed at the moment.
Nope. All right. Z, you can start.
Ravens versus Cowboys and Super Bowl, what is this? 57? Something like that?
57, 58. I don't know.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, who cares?
So Ravens versus Cowboys in the Super Bowl. You have two quarterbacks that are very highly criticized, and Dak Prescott and Lamar Jackson, who
Yes.
have already gained the respect of critics for making it this far.
Yes.
For winning their division. When people expected Cincinnati to win the AFC North, people expected Philadelphia to win the NFC East. I give credit to both these organizations for the regular seasons they had, for the postseason success they had, and they're gonna come into this game. There's gonna be we're gonna see a whole lot of, I think, defensive battle. I don't think it would be like a 13-3 kind of game that we saw against the Rams and Patriots way back when. God, that was awful. That was awful. I don't think we would see something like that, but I do think we'd see maybe just a little bit more scoring, but we would see like towards the beginning of like this game, there would be some scoring back and forth. But when we get in the second half, you'd see the defense really start to square up, and you might see a punting battle for like the whole third quarter.
Right.
Now, with that being said, I mean, it's always hard to predict if a game would come down to a field goal. These are the kind of opponents that it would come down to that, just because their strengths and weaknesses really correspond with one another. And it's really, really hard for me to pick who my Super Bowl winner would be. It's always hard. It's always hard, especially when you think your own team can and will make it.
Yeah.
Oh man. I think I'm going to go with in the Super Bowl. I have no shame in it, and I have no shame. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't sit here and say Dallas going to the Super Bowl. I mean, what kind of Ravens fan would I be, right? Yeah, I mean, you might as well call me Skip Bayless. Every time the Spurs make the playoffs, he thinks the Spurs
Right.
are going to win. The Spurs are going to win the finals. Okay,
Yep.
screw it. I'm going to pick the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. I'm doing it right here live on air. January 10th, 10 days before my birthday, 10 days probably before Achilles goes out. Right. I'm sitting here picking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl.
All right.
If you want a score, I'll give you a score. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go 23-17. Ravens win.
Well, again, this will be clipped if it does not happen.
That's fine.
This video is there. This video will be clipped if the Ravens do not make the Super Bowl, or even if they lose. Doesn't matter.
Oh,
This
you won't
video
hear
is
from
gonna be
me
clipped.
for probably a month. I can tell you that.
Well, see, just remember, not one person on the Ravens team knows who you are.
Yeah, you're right.
They have no idea who you are, nor do they care that you are part of their fan base.
I will say, and real quick, this is a very much of a more sentimental kind of comment. This has been my favorite Ravens season I've ever watched, just in a matter of, um, just in a matter of me being able to see them multiple times this year in multiple different cities.
Right.
I've been proud to say that.
Yep.
And knows I got to see them in their final preseason game in Tampa. The very next week, I went and saw them in their home opener in Baltimore. I went over to Arizona. I saw them play there, and then I went down to Jacksonville. I saw them play there. It's been my favorite Ravens season by far. Every single game I went to, other than the preseason game, they've won. I've read everything about them every single day. I keep up on them every single day. I watch their interviews. It's been my favorite season by far. The Ravens, and obviously, I just hope it finishes the way that
This
that
season's
any fan win.
more favorited to you than the 2015 one.
2015. 2015. What a random year.
You remember what happened that season, Z?
Pretty sure that was the year where like the whole entire team got hurt.
Yeah.
And we had Jimmy Clausen start a game.
Yeah. Yep.
Jimmy Clausen.
Yeah, that's bad.
It is.
That's
It
bad.
is. I think we also had Ryan Mallett. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Ryan Mallett, Matt Schaub.
Shop.
And it was bad. It was bad.
Really bad. Really bad.
Ravens
So,
win 23-17. My most memorable
23-17.
season I will ever remember in my lifetime.
Well, Z, if the Ravens win the Super Bowl, where does this put Lamar at?
In reference to what?
Kind of his standing in the league right now.
Well, again, in reference to like all times or just current players.
Yeah, just in terms like you know where Mahomes stands with everything he's accomplished. Where does it make Lamar stand? Because Lamar's kind of been somebody the last few years, right? A lot of people don't really view him as top 5 quarterback, and they prefer some other quarterbacks over him, right? He's got a lot of crap for not winning a playoff game, and then if he'd win a Super Bowl, where do you think this would put him amongst the other guys?
Right. It's kind of crazy to say what I'm about to say because he's only 20. He just turned 27. I think the conversation about him and his longevity is should go extinct. I don't think that should be a conversation that's brought up with him anymore. I think he can very, very, very clearly play to his mid 30s. Not a conversation we're going to talk about right now, but that's what I believe. That's what I like to think would happen with his career. I think he has a very long, long career ahead of him. I think, Ed, if he wins a Super Bowl this year, or just at, I guess same point of his career, but I'm not going to say that's not the point. This year,
Right.
it I think puts a stamp on his legacy in reference to him winning the Heisman, to him winning the NFL MVP, maybe twice after this season, to him just being a next level generation talent, to him breaking the quarterback rush record, to him winning a Super Bowl. I think it would put a stamp on his for the rest of his career.
I think that if that would be the case, there should be no more Lamar Jackson disrespect ever again. If he does not win the Super Bowl, if he, let's say they even don't even get there, what does that do? How much harm does that do to him?
Well, it does a lot. It does a lot. And that's, that's something that Lamar brings on to himself, is having a high expectation. Great
Mhm.
players have high expectations. Great players, you know, they when they fail, even when they're a top 4, 8 team in the league, in the whole entire country, the whole entire world, when you're a
Right,
top 5 player in all of the sport, when you don't get the ultimate prize, which is what anybody wants, of course, it says a lot about who you are. But yeah, I mean, it leaves just a massive, massive weight on his shoulders that would I think would be hard to live with. I mean,
right,
there's no way you can tell me, even with all the money he makes, that it would be something that he can just forget about until next season.
right. Um, yeah, I think that if Lamar does not get to the Super Bowl this year, there's going to be a lot of crap on him. There is. He's going to get crapped on by a lot of people, even if he wins the MVP. So if you want the Lamar hate to go away, he better win.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep.
So my prediction, I have the Ravens Niners in a 2013 rematch. I am going to pick the Niners to win and that the Ravens fall short. And reason why is that as much as the Ravens kick their ass when they played them in Baltimore, this game's
San,
not in
San
Baltimore.
Francisco.
San Francisco, I mean. You're right. Forgot. Um, I don't know why I thought that game was in Baltimore. I don't remember which game I was thinking of.
But
Um,
we get your point. They obviously, yeah, they kick their ass.
they kicked their ass, but this is the Super Bowl, and Kyle Shanahan's been here before, just like John Harbaugh has. But there's no way, in my opinion, that the Ravens repeat what they did to San Francisco.
There's no way.
There in the Super Bowl. There isn't any way.
No.
There's no way.
No.
You have two quarterbacks that have never been to Super Bowl, but you have players on San Francisco that were part of that 2019 team that fell short, and you have players on the Ravens that have not been there. Probably most of that roster. So, not that that is a determining factor, but these are both two very talented teams where you could pick either one to win. But I'm going with San Francisco because with what happened to them in the regular season, players remember that. Players have tape on that. And San Francisco has been there before in 2019 when a lot of guys on that roster were there and
Yep.
fell short.
Yep.
And when you get that opportunity again, which is very, very hard to get, you're not just going to let that slip. And we've seen Lamar's playoffs, and until he really makes that mark, there's going to be a lot of people that doubt him ever being able to win the big one. And he's still young in his career. If he loses this Super Bowl or doesn't get there either way, it's not over for him. It's not that he can't ever get there again. But I think a lot of people, even myself included, I've said that if they don't win it with him, I feel like they might not ever win it with him this year. If they don't win it this year, I feel like they might not ever win it with him.
Hmm.
And like I said, he's only 27, which is still young for a quarterback. Lamar still could get there at 29, 30, 31, right? But with just where things are at, um, it would be hard it's going to be hard for the Ravens to bounce back from that. And with that being said, I'm going to go Niners, win the Super Bowl, where they play better, and they do not have a repeat of what happened to them in San Francisco, and they are going to win 27-21.
Good score.
Should be a pretty good Super Bowl,
Yep.
but the opposites happen. This was the matchup 10, 11 years ago. This is going to be the matchup, but just the reverse.
Yeah.
So
As long as that doesn't have the same ending where people think Jimmy Smith held Michael Crabtree.
Well, Z, I'd rather have the Niners quarterback that is there now than who was there before.
And we don't need our channel to get reported.
No, we don't. So, but overall, both Super Bowls that Z and I came to the conclusion of would both be good matchups. AFC Championships, probably the best possibility. But if the Ravens do not pull it off, it's a massive failure.
Yeah.
It's a massive, massive failure.
Yeah.
The biggest failure in John Harbaugh's career. I mean, 2019 was a huge, massive failure as well, but Lamar's a little bit older now.
Yeah, and he's matured, and he's
more
obviously in his
mature.
prime.
He's grown as a player.
Yep.
That was only really his first year as a starter. So
Yep.
It's a little different, but it would be even more of a failure. So
your whole team's in his prime.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's our playoff predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick, let's talk just a little bit here, Z, before we log off here about some of these coaching things that have happened in the league.
Yeah.
We have today that came out that Pete Carroll was out as Seattle's coach. How surprised were you by that?
Not surprised. Not surprised.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of time. It was just time for a change. They've been mediocre for a very, very long time.
Right.
And it was just time for a change. It seems like he's going to stay in the organization, which is fine. But yeah, it's time to get younger at coach. It's just, and I'm not even going to say like energy because Pete Carroll has more energy than any coach ever would.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect Pete Carroll as a coach, but it was just time. It was time.
It was. Yes, it was. And when you're in a spot there where you're probably going to try to get a little bit younger as a team, you possibly could transition at quarterback within the next year. You probably want to bring somebody in rather than Pete Carroll. Like I said,
probably take out this bracket, by the way, and
yeah, let me do that. There we go. You probably want to bring somebody else in that, like Z said, has that young blood to direct this new kind of era of Seattle.
Yeah.
So, but I was honestly surprised because I really thought they were going to at least go one more year with him. I know D is just heartbroken.
and she can't name more than 5 players on the team.
No, she can't.
No, she can't.
She can't. So, but yeah, nonetheless, Seattle is another team in the coaching market. There's a ton of options that are available now and still will eventually become available. Matt Vrabel was another guy that a lot of people were surprised Tennessee fired. Tennessee's just in an awful situation.
Awful.
They're in an awful spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you think of head coach candidates like, I mean, I saw the Panthers interview Brian Johnson. Don't know what that's for. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about Jim Harbaugh and is he could come to the NFL. I think, give Jim Harbaugh at least a little bit of time to celebrate his national championship win. I mean, Jesus.
Right.
We got shame on the reporters for him literally celebrating the national championship in his press conference, and they're asking him what's next.
Right.
I mean, like, just let him enjoy it. My God.
Right.
No,
we got to have everything right now.
No. Yep. Obviously, Bill Belichick's a question that we're going to wait on and see. But yeah, I mean, and Arthur Smith, I mean, thank God. Thank God.
That had to be done.
Had to be.
See, does Arthur Smith coach in the league next year?
I'll say he'll be an offense coordinator somewhere. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we have right now looking at the teams in the league. Seattle needs a head coach. Tampa Bay maybe could move off of Bulls depending what happens.
Yep.
Falcons need a head coach. Panthers need a head coach. Giants moved off of Wink Martindale, so they'll be in the market for a defensive coordinator. Washington needs a head coach. We know Ron Rivera got fired on his birthday. Z and I had a little conversation on DBD the other night just of how much of a joke Ron Rivera is.
Joke.
Absolute joke. We look in the AFC. Chargers going to need a new head coach. They've already done a couple interviews. Geez, who else there? The Raiders, New England probably going to need a new head coach.
Yep.
Tennessee.
Yep.
So
Obviously got the Bears bringing back their coach. Not sure how we feel about that, but whatever.
They're like the Pirates. They just can't figure out their coaching.
No, they can't.
It's just rinse and repeat. So, but yeah, guys, that's mine and Z's NFL playoff predictions. We will see how much we get right. Watch, the whole thing will be wrong. I feel like most of it will be right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's our predictions. A little brief talk there about some of these coaches that got fired, and we'll see what happens. So, Z, any final words before we get off here?
Nope. And just good luck to the Steelers this weekend.
Yep.
If good luck to any of if anybody's watching that has a team at the playoffs, good luck to your team.
Yep.
I can at least relax for this weekend because once next week comes around, I'm going to be sweating bullets every single day. I mean, and just, I might have to wear a diaper next week.
Yeah. For a diaper.
Yeah.
Oh, Z, I wouldn't be surprised if you would still go to work rather than watch the Ravens game.
Yeah, you're right. And I would call it out in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, Z, you've really turned into what you used to hate. So.
Yeah. It's called money, and it's called money. We can compare bank accounts, but I'm not trying to expose you.
Yeah, we compare bank accounts, right?
Yep. I know you saved up those. I know you saved up those stimulus checks.
Yeah. You're right, Z. You're right.
Enjoy giving to Vladimir.
Yeah. Vladimir's gonna have everybody's money come March.
Yeah, you're right.
So, Z and I are gonna end it there, guys. He's gonna be a phony and not get on tonight. Go. Sounds about right. Go figure. We will see what happens with the NFL playoffs this weekend. Everybody, thank you all for your support. Let us know in the comment section your predictions, and we'll see you.